So, Buymageddon has almost come and gone, and now we have to deal with some of the consequences of this past fantasy football season. And can I say, ouch? I'm your host for the day, Will, and this is the Points Per Podcast. Let's get into it. Our first game on the slate is going to be Minnesota versus the Chargers. And let me say, first of all, that having Carson Wentz out on that field as long as he was medical malpractice. That man looked like he was out there playing hurt. And even with that, he still was able to have some fantasy viable weapons, even though it was altogether a pretty unsuccessful day for the Vikings offense. Aaron Jones also returned to action today, so good to see that he was able to return to action and also lead the running back room in carries. With Jordan Mason not finding a lot of success this week, I'm sure he hurt a lot of fantasy teams, except for the ones I was playing against, of course. Justin Jefferson continues to be the man, and Jordan Addison continues to be a red zone target for this team. And looking at the Chargers side of the ball, Justin Herbert continues to play well, and Kamani Vidal, maybe the hype we had for him last season, there was some merit to it because he may be a league winner for a lot of people who are able to go out and get him on waivers because he continues to ball with another 100-yard performance and a touchdown on top of that. And Aronde Gadsden able to become a focal point of this passing offense. From what it looks like, Lat McConkey and Aronde Gadsden may be the two focal points for this passing offense now, with slight Keenan Allen. Quentin Johnston maybe getting tossed to the wayside. And Trey Harris, while they're getting him a little bit more involved as the weeks have gone along, he's still not really a guy in this offense yet. So look to Lad McConkey and look to Aronde Gadsden if you were lucky enough to get him because he may have some league winning potential for you. And next, we got a surprising Miami Dolphins win here. Miami able to beat the Falcons 34-10 here. And let's talk about the assets. I think that Tua is still not a great asset to have in fantasy, even though this was a good performance from them. I don't think this is going to be the norm. And obviously, this was a very different Falcons team than we're used to seeing. With that being said, Devon Achane continues to just get things done no matter what. And Jalen Waddle getting things done as well through the air this week. Again, it's tough to really be optimistic about the Dolphins because this situation has just been terrible all around, but a good week from the players if you did happen to start them. In wake of Darren Waller being gone and the tight end room here, nothing really to shake a stick at. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about that. And also, Jalen Wright returned to action this week, and Ollie Gordon was able to outpace him as well. But good to see Jalen Wright getting involved again, and Ollie Gordon still seeing success in the offense. Now, talking about Atlanta, if this wasn't a Bijan Robinson trap game, I don't know what is. And this is the definition of one. Of course, he's going up against the worst run defense in the NFL, and he puts up 25 yards, 2.8 yards per carry. Just the perfect trap game for Bijan. Don't let this discourage you. This is just a really weird game. And speaking of weird, Kyle Pitts led the receivers room. He's playing really well this season. I think he's having that sort of breakout we've kind of been looking for pretty silently, but he's been playing really well this year. But outside of that, with the receivers here, Darnell Mooney able to get the start with Drake London being absent for this game, a late inactive before this game, but still not able to really get that number one volume or just number one look in this offense, with Kaderil Hodge actually getting that as the third receiver in three receiver sets. That's why with Kirk Cousins at the helm and just how weird this week was, I've got no takeaways for the Falcons. It's a weird one. Start Bijan, start Drake London when he gets back, I guess, but it's weird. Oh, and start Kyle Pitts. Now, this one was a slugfest, and this one had an interesting narrative behind it because you had Justin Fields, who was having the revenge game against his own team, and you had Joe Flacco, who is still putting up these pretty big performances for someone of his age, and this is just a pretty big shootout right here that nobody really expected. Now, I will say when this Jets offense is actually moving, it is pretty fun to watch the Jets play. This was a pretty fun game to watch altogether. And when talking about the weapons, Brees Hall went absolutely nuclear this game, showed us why he is Brees Hall, and he did Brees Hall things. He even threw a touchdown this game. I was very confused. I actually started Justin Fields in one league. I had Mason Taylor in another one, and I saw Mason Taylor score, and I was like, why didn't I see a notification for Justin Fields? Brees Hall. Who would have thought? But just good to see this Jets offense actually moving again. But whether that stands to be the case next week, who knows? Because it has been quite a roller coaster. But with that being said, on the Cincinnati side of things, Joe Flacco continuing to get it done. Jamar Chase getting absolutely mega targeted with 19 targets out of 33. Hold on, let me do the math right there. That is a 57.5% target share. He is absolutely going nuclear right now. He's been worth that 101 ever since Joe Flacco has been here with the team. T. Higgins, you got bailed out. We got an eye on you, but keep it up. And with that also being said, Chase Brown has been revived through all of this, and Samaje Perine also finding a lot of success in this offense too. I don't think it's indicative that Samaje Perine is going to keep doing things going forward. This was just a really good week for him. But Chase Brown going forward, I am very optimistic about with the way this offense is moving. And next, we have another absolute rout in the Patriots Browns. And in this instance right here, man, Dylan Gabriel, it's just kind of bad. He's really bad. The stat lines honestly look better than he does, and the stat lines don't even look good. But with that being said, for everybody else involved, obviously Harold Pannon still doing a great job. David Njoku returned, and obviously he was also very targeted in this offense coming back. Dylan Sampson, also someone getting more targeted as the weeks go along, so he's someone to keep an eye on. Quinshawn Judkins not able to find a whole lot of success, but due to game script and just the style of play, it would kind of make sense that he would get phased out in this game with it being the blowout that it was. With that being said, on the Patriots side of the ball, the running backs continue to be frustrating. So I really don't want to talk about them. I have Ramondre Stevenson and Trevion Henderson in one league, and let me tell you, it's not fun. It makes me want to drink water in GTA. And Drake May continues his absolute just kind of reign and breakout. He has been absolutely electric to watch this year, and the weapons there have benefited from it. Mac Hollins looked like a really good wide receiver this week, all things considered. Kayshon Boutte has been absolutely fire for this team this year since he's been 2 years removed from his injury now. And Stephon Diggs, while not having a monster game, still getting very involved and still finding some success and getting a touchdown. So, honestly, no complaints from the Patriots offense from a passing perspective. Well, unless you have one of the tight ends, then you don't want a Patriots tight end right now. Boys. Pouring out for Cam Scatterbo, man. Pour one out for Cam Scatterbo. Absolutely devastating injury to see. Just after so much success that you've seen him have these past couple of weeks, he's a guy you really want to root for. And I'm still rooting for him. I'm rooting for a speedy recovery for him. Obviously, he's going to be done for the rest of this season. With that being said, Tyrone Tracy is a guy in this backfield again to look to that they're going to be looking to now in that absence. Devin Singletary may also step up a little bit to take some of those duties. I wouldn't be surprised if Devin Singletary even ends up taking some goal line duties away sneakily. But yeah, just a really big blow for a team that was really fun to watch with these young guys. And now you just got to see how Jackson Dart kind of perseveres through this adversity as well. But man, that headbutt between the two, that'll drive a grown man to tears, man. And then looking at the Eagles side of the ball, the running backs went pretty stupid this week. Saquon Barkley able to find a lot of success this week, 150 yards and a touchdown. But also Tank Bigsby able to find some success as well with over 100 yards and a touchdown with one really big carry. It was a 26-yard first down he needed to get, got 29 yards on the carry. But other than that, still able to find a lot of success out there on the ground. And with Saquon having pulled what looks like his hamstring, keep an eye on that situation. Tank Bigsby may be a guy. I don't know if he's on waivers right now. If people dropped him due to how the Eagles have been using him, but he might be someone you want to look out for on waivers if he is, because if Saquon Barkley misses some time, he's someone they're going to look to. This is a game they altogether didn't really need to throw the ball a whole lot, but able to find a lot of passing success when it came to scoring touchdowns. Gallus Goddard. Wow. Dallas Goddard able to find a lot of success with two of them himself, and Jahan Dotson making an absolute monster catch for his touchdown. But yeah, Eagles doing Eagles things. Keep an eye on the Saquon Barkley situation and see what status is and see what the status of Will Shipley and Tank Bigsby are in your league. Because I would look to Tank Bigsby right now. It's really easy to talk about for the most part. The Panthers struggled, but Andy Dalton still able to make the weapons look at least a little good with Tetairoa McMillan finding some success and Jalen Coker getting involved. Not saying he found success, but he got involved. So it was good to see from that perspective. And Chuba Hubbard getting more involved this week, more involved than Rico Dowdle this week as well. So I don't know what's going on with that situation. I don't see how you watch Rico Dowdle do what he did and then say that this is what the split is, but it's what we're dealing with and it's what it is. But on the other side of the ball, James Cook in games that the Bills are favored, you want to start him. He is an absolute monster. He's a top 5 running back in games that the Bills are favored. And this week he goes absolutely nuclear with 216 yards and 2 touchdowns on top of that. And from a passing perspective, Khalil Shakir able to get more involved, but other than that, still just really shoddy involvement from the receivers. And also Josh Allen just kind of having a vintage Josh Allen game himself with 2 rushing touchdowns. So always good to see that as well. Now, I'm going to be optimistic about this Bears offense because this is year one. They're still kind of working out the bugs and working out the kinks, but I'm gonna need to see more still. I need to see more out of this offense, and I need to see more out of Caleb Williams at this point. When you're going up against one of the worst passing defenses in the NFL, and you're not able to really find success against them through the air, that's a bit of a problem. Now, Roma Dunze, I'm glad he had the bounce back week that he had because I needed to see that as well, that he could bounce back, and I'm glad that he did. But everyone else just kind of lackluster for the most part. Colston Loveland got the nod this week with Cole Kmet being out due to a back issue, I believe he had earlier this week. But even with that start, 5 targets turned into 3 catches for 38 yards. This offense needs to start capitalizing on more of the opportunities that they get. And I just haven't really seen them do that a whole lot. Moving to the Ravens side of the ball, King Henry was pretty much back for the most part. Not super efficient, but had a big day from a fantasy perspective and just real life with 2 touchdowns. And with Tyler Huntley back there at quarterback, the team does look like it runs a lot better than with Cooper Rush at the helm. It kind of makes sense because Tyler Huntley plays a lot more similarly to Lamar Jackson. It's funny, Tyler Huntley plays the way that people think Lamar Jackson plays. You can look into that the way that you want. But this offense just looked like it ran better. It ran a little bit more comfortably with him at the helm. So brighter days for Zay Flowers, for Derrick Henry. Not so much for the tight ends. I don't really know what's going on out there. And if you're starting anybody else outside of that, I don't really know what you're doing. It must be a deep league. Oh, and I guess Tyler Huntley is also startable as long as Lamar Jackson is out. If you need to stream a quarterback option. This is a game I didn't really catch too much of, but I also knew that Christian McCaffrey wasn't having, the best game just due to the online responses I saw. And just taking a look at the stat sheet here, I can see why people were saying that. I don't know what was happening with this game all around, but it just looks like the San Francisco 49ers struggled against the Texans. And CJ Stroud has been just finding his stride as of late. This is, I think, 3 consecutive weeks they have been able to put together just good performances. And this is in lieu of Nico Collins and Christian Kirk both being out for the game. So with running the rookies out there and the younger guys, still able to find a lot of success. Xavier Hutchinson, somebody that we talked about, would be a bigger part of this offense if, the 2 main guys were out. He had a pretty big game, scored a touchdown, 5 catches, 69 yards. Nice. Jalen Noel, 5 catches for 63 yards, able to, produce. And Jaden Higgins, 4 catches for 34 yards and a touchdown. So it turns out when you play your young assets, sometimes they are good. Who would have thought? And Woody Marks making a bit of a resurgence this week as well. And now we got Saints Buccaneers and what I feel like was just a terrible game for the Saints. And Spencer Rattler threw what ended up being one of the most just disrespectful interceptions I feel like I've seen in modern football history. So I'm not really going to talk about the Saints because I don't know what they're going to be doing next week. I don't know if Spencer Rattler's going to be starting or if it's showtime. Who knows? But on the other side of the ball, with Baker Mayfield, obviously he didn't have a great game this week. He didn't really have to because the team was just kind of putting things together and stuff was just kind of falling in place for them. Now, the thing that does concern me is that Sean Tucker and Rashad White are sort of evenly splitting touches. And when it comes to that, you really got Rashad White for the price that you did because you wanted him to be a sort of bell cow back here. But now with Sean Tucker, it feels like he's taking this sort of resurgence and it's coming the 1A, 1B type situation. And that's only until Bucky Irving comes back, which it's looking like is going to be week 10. Oh, no real takeaways there. It's just concerning, I guess, if Bucky were to miss more time. And again, we can talk about the receivers, but there's not a whole lot to talk about here. Tez Johnson is becoming someone that you could possibly stream in the absence of, all the other receivers. But right now, Emeka Egbuka is the alpha receiver in this offense with the other 2 gone. But he still is out there playing just a little bit encumbered, as you can tell. 3 for 35, so not a huge day for Emeka Egbuka, but we're hoping for a bounce back as he sort of gets healthier and gets a week off next week as well. So things could turn around pretty quick. Now, this is a game right here. I texted Eric during this game because the Bo Nix agenda is fully back. I know it's against the Cowboys, so we always got to take that with a grain of salt. But I do feel like in terms of just his play since that fourth quarter, things have looked a little bit better. It looks like they've been putting things together just as a team. And as a result of that, things have kind of changed, especially when you look at the running back room. Because you've got J.K. Dobbins, who is leading the team in touches. He's also leading the team in yards and, yards per carry. But you see who's scoring all the touchdowns. Now, I'm not saying we've straight up got a Seattle Seahawks type situation right here, but it is at least something to be a little bit nervous about. But it is great to see RJ Harvey getting more involved and scoring 3 touchdowns this week. So that's awesome. And Troy Franklin getting super involved as well. Just love to see what just kind of love to see what this Denver offense has been putting together lately. On the Dallas side of the ball, Javonte Williams continues to just keep on doing what he does. And honestly, outside of that, there's not really a whole lot to talk about. This was just kind of a mediocre day from everybody around, and Dak Prescott looked human this week. So that's all I really got for the Cowboys. Now, we are here because I think in our Lord year of 2025, we are going to see a running back win MVP. We are going to see Jonathan Taylor win MVP if he keeps playing at the rate that he is playing at. Because for all of those who are saying, oh, well, Saquon also, he had 14 touchdowns, blah, blah, blah. Jonathan Taylor has that right now. Matter of fact, those are just rushing touchdowns, 2 receiving as well. Jonathan Taylor is making, and I feel even right here, Rich Eisen, he's literally talking about it right now as we speak. But with that being said, this reign of dominance that we have seen from the Colts is unlike anything that I feel like I have seen in a while, especially out of a running back. And Daniel Jones is playing out of his mind. At this point, this is fully real. The Colts are here, and Michael Pittman is proving to be one of the biggest values in fantasy football. And that was something I was telling people, I feel like, before the season started, is I didn't feel like he would end anywhere near where his ADP is. And if he keeps up at this rate, he's not going to. Yeah, he's going absolutely nuclear this year so far in terms of just being targeted, in terms of this offensive success, and even still seeing that and seeing guys like Josh Downs still eat off of his 3 targets, still able to score a touchdown. Jonathan Taylor still getting targeted and able to score a touchdown. Alec Pierce still able to get 70 yards, just about 69. Nice. I want to talk about the Colts, and I want to say that, I want to make fun of Daniel Jones because that's always been the fun thing to do, but it's just not correct anymore. And then when looking at the Tennessee side of things, Cam Ward, I've officially kind of gotten off the Cam Ward train. I think he does look pretty bad out there, and he's starting to lose his composure as a part of it too, and that's not something you really want to see out of your rookie quarterback as well. He's not really looking like a leader out there. But in terms of this offense, the rushing side of things, Tyjae Spears has juice. I think he's really got juice left. In terms of just what he was doing out there and just the plays he was able to make happen, that big explosive run he was able to make, that 41-yard rush, I think he's got a lot of juice that Tony Pollard does not have. And then when looking at the receivers, okay, a couple weeks ago I said don't pick up Chimere DK. You can pick up Chimere DK. He's going to be a guy, it looks like, in this offense. But I'm not excited about anybody, at least not right now. Like down the line, like Eric said, guys like Gunnar Helm, who scored a touchdown this week, they're going to get more and more involved, and he's looking really good right now while the team is really bad. But I don't know. And that is going to bring us to the uh, and that is going to bring us to the final game of the slate. That's going to be the Green Bay Packers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And let me tell you, Tucker Kraft is absolutely playing out of his gosh darn mind. 7 catches, 143 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's fully healthy now. We talked about it last week. I was telling people I think that, they're just waiting for him to be healthy. And once it is, he is target number 1. And yeah, 2 out of 3 touchdowns went to him. And that's off a huge 59-yard reception as well. Just absolutely little boying people. He's just what you want to see in a tight end, especially one that you drafted for the value and just the receiver we thought he was going to be for this offense. What surprises me actually is how good Christian Watson looked this week. I was ready to kind of hang up the towel on Christian Watson. I felt like he was never going to be able to get his health issues correct, but it looks like he's actually figured it out somewhat. I don't think he's a wide receiver 1. I think he's still a wide receiver 2 in a room full of wide receiver 2s, but he's at least one that you could maybe bet on a week to week. And Josh Jacobs, while not a super successful week, still very voluminous week. So nothing really to be super upset about there. Just got to kind of hope he gets a little bit more healthy as the season goes along. But then when we're looking at the Steelers side of things, one, this team is super boring to watch. And two, I don't really know what to take away on a week to week that's new, except that DK Metcalf stubbornly still scores points for this team. The tight ends weren't super targeted this week, so I guess you can't just start the tight ends. But it was encouraging to see that Jalen Warren is still at the head of this backfield, even though it wasn't the most successful day for him in that backfield. So, guys, that's going to bring us to the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching this long if you made it this far. And let me know what you think in the comments as well. What did you think about these games? And just has fantasy football been sort of depressing you too? Because these injuries, I don't know, man. There's something about them this year. They just feel a little bit different. They just feel a little bit more vicious. I don't know. But with that being said, if you guys made it this far into the video, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. That way you know when we drop all of our latest videos. And as always, love you.